deep enough. Ooh. Okay. In fact, this might have been something that Serp was trying to say before, but somehow this only just occurred to me. Maybe it's not something you were trying to say. I don't know. Is it possible that Dirk was killed, Amara lived, and Amara has been channeling him for the past 23 years? And that just now they're like, oh, haha, I'm gonna meet you in the term. Stopped channeling, went back to being Amara. That's why he doesn't remember anything. And then something happened, and then she channeled him again, and he popped back into the body like, oh, I'm here, I'm holding a knife. You were joking that Maya was channeling Dirk, but then we saw Maya. This is Ace Attorney. We've had that, oh, we thought we were talking to the real person, but we were actually talking to a ghost. We've had that before, but not for 23 years. Ace Attorney, not Star Trek. Did that happen in Star Trek that I'm not aware of? Accused. What do you believe about the possible presence of a third party? Well, based on the situation you presented, I'd say the chances are slim to none. You didn't have to agree with her, Dirk. Let the accused's statement be added to his testimony. Very well, Mr. Sarmati, if you would. It's like the more we press, the thinner our case gets. Well, let's keep pressing. Maybe we'll work out the wrinkles in it, too. Yeah, maybe this is a press-on-everything testimony.
Hold it!
We can't prove you innocent without at least the possibility that a third party was there. Find the possible in the impossible, son. They did something in season 2 or 3 of Next Generation. It's not coming to mind. Interesting if true. That's just what a lawyer's got to do sometimes. Isn't that right? Right? Who, me? Yeah, you could say that. I've seen more than my fair share of trials like that. They'd start with no viable evidence, useful testimony, or any hope of winning. But through cold sweat, desperation, and a little luck, I always managed to pull them off. Right. I can see we're kindred spirits, you and I. Gee, taking cases like that must shave years off your life. If that were true, I'd be long dead. Someone's been channeling Phoenix Wright this whole time. Find the possible in the impossible. Can I prove that it was at least possible that there was a third party there? Dirk, what did you see at the scene of the crime? Let's see. I came to...
Hold it!
The survivors. You stated he was dead as a doornail. How can you be so sure? It's pretty easy to spot the difference between a soulless man and the soulless shell of a man. His complexion and the amount of blood at the scene made it obvious which it was. Watch your words, or you shall join Mr. Ingo much sooner than expected. You can bow your head to him and seek his forgiveness there in the Twilight Realm. If you still have a head to bow, that is. You bloodthirsty spider! What happened to you? There was still a little love in your heart 23 years ago. You even used to think of me as a brother. It seems you truly do have a death wish. Is that really all you've got? Dirk, I'm begging you. Enough of the lip. Just deliver your testimony, please. Alright, alright. I'll try, but I can't promise anything. Bang that gavel. Nope. Alright, so unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I've pressed on everything now. How dead would you say your average doornail is? Why do we say dead as a doornail? Struck by sudden dizziness, the moon entered the tomb. Next thing I knew, I was standing there. Possibility of a third party being in the tomb. Oh, this is when we use the blood. It doesn't belong to the... Okay, yeah. Here is blood. It doesn't belong to the victim, and it's probably not his.
Objection!
Good. Picard orders the Oaksbridges beamed up to the Enterprise and confronts Kevin with his suspicions. Kevin and Rishon's house was destroyed in the attack. Rishon was killed, but Kevin, who is not human, has recreated... Oh, that one! The one... Good tea. Nice house. I know that episode very well. I didn't think that was... that was... Right, that was... There was a... The... Whatever he was, some kind of supernatural being, or some kind of, like, incredibly powerful alien race. That she died in the attack. Everyone on the planet, except for him, died in the attack. And then he killed he genocided their entire race in revenge. Just with a Thanos snap. It was like, no, you don't understand. I killed all of them. All of them that exist anywhere in the universe. And then he went, okay, then I'll recreate her and we'll just live out our life here. This would be a little bit different, but I do know that episode. Good tea. Nice house. Your Eminence, I'm afraid this trial will not go exactly as you anticipated, because I can show how there might have been a third party in that tomb. Oh, how very fascinating. Go on. I do so love a good fairy tale. We did a luminol test at the crime scene, and we found a bloodstain that didn't match the Justice Minister's blood. I will remind you that neither Dirk nor Ms. Fay were injured during the incident. The thing is, this bloodstain we found had been wiped up by someone. What's this? But who would have done such a thing? That's the big question, isn't it? Who wiped up the blood, and why? Thinking about it logically, it must be someone who wanted to conceal their presence at the scene of the crime. Oh, and whom do you suppose the bloodstain might belong to? You. the real killer. Which is you. The bloodstain belongs to the real killer, of course. Whoever it was, they were probably shot while they were attacking Minister Inga. And since their blood would give them away, they had to wipe it up. I say this because we know for a fact that the Justice Minister fired his gun in the tomb. You have the memory of a flea. There was nowhere for anyone to hide. This, too, is a known fact. But what if they were a spider and they could crawl on the ceiling? But a bloodstain from a third party means there must have been someone hiding there. Very well, then tell me this. Where was this third party hiding? Oh, the crime scene was thoroughly searched after it was discovered. So if there was a hiding place, it would have to be somewhere no one would dare to look. Somewhere no one would dare to look inside the sarcophagus. Let's have your answer, defense. Where could a third party have hidden? I've got it!
Take that!
One place no one would search, not even the Queen's Royal Guard. And that would be... inside Queen Amara's sarcophagus. Even now, it's locked up tight. No one would find you if you hid in there. I'm told that it's temperature controlled to preserve the mummy within, but if someone dressed warmly enough, they could withstand the cold for a short time. This is sacrilege. Surely the perpetrator of such a foul deed would be cursed. But that's just it. The killer knew everyone would be too scared to open the sarcophagus. True. The guards were so scared of being cursed, they wouldn't even touch it. And when the coast was clear, the killer made a quick escape from within their rigid confines. I did consider that it could be... There's some reason that the statue is broken, right? Well now, that does sound like a plausible method for evading capture. The defense requests a DNA test on the bloodstain. And then we'll see just who this real killer is. Whoa! Bow your head and kneel, lawyer. So your head may be parted from your shoulders. Huh? But the trial's not even over. She has Tatsumaki powers. We can't be. I needed to grind a lot more before we came here. She has the power to control the Tatsumakis. Or actually, she's not controlling them. She's predicting them. She knows exactly when the Tatsumakis will strike. This is an extremely devastating power. I don't think we can do it. How soon you forget. You are already on the headsman's scaffold. As such, I could order your beheading at any moment. All I did was request a DNA test. There is no need to request such a test. Royal Guard, bring it forth now. Here you are, Your Eminence. The police have already identified the source of the bloodstain. The DNA test revealed that the blood is of the traitor Dirk Sadmati. What? But Dirk wasn't injured. So where did his blood come from? Maybe he coughed it up. Dirk's illness. Still, there was a lot of blood. Could he have really coughed up that much? And did he wipe it up to hide his failing health? Dirk, is it really that bad? Aw, shoot. You got me. Pay attention, horned devil, for this case has already been solved. You claimed that this bloodstain would lead us to the real killer, did you not? About that, did you or did you not make that claim of your own volition, defense? Yes, I did. After she steered you in that direction, that is. Arg! I fell right into her trap. Do you see now the folly in opposing the very embodiment of the law? Whatever you say or do shall come to no avail. A third party at the scene of the crime? It's beyond the realm of possibility. No! Praise be for Queen Khura'in. Her Eminence's legal tactics are beyond compare. I hate to say this, but she really got us good. The key to Amara's sarcophagus is under the protection of the royal family. My husband and I are the only ones who could open it. Therefore, it would be impossible for some knave to open it. Can I really discount the sarcophagus as a hiding place, though? What if the real killer is still in there? No, it's Bakana. I believe we have rebels and sympathizers in the gallery today. It is to you I speak. Have you been listening? Dirk Sadmati, the one who proclaimed a bloodless revolt, has betrayed your cause by resorting to murder. No, it can't be. Dirk would never. There must be some kind of mistake. The Defiant Dragons and their sympathizers are starting to have doubts. So this is why Garan allowed us to cross-examine Dirk. By establishing his guilt in Inga's murder, he has effectively damaged his reputation among those who support him. True, but now we have an even bigger problem. And now, filthy lawyers, you will honor your end of the bargain. Accept your guilty verdict for your failure to explain your client's actions. Cool. Huh? Now I shall pass judgment upon the criminal Dirk Sadmati. What's this? You shall pass judgment? But your eminence, is that not my role? Hold your tongue. You are but a figurehead before me, the embodiment of law. Consider yourself dismissed. As Queen of Khura'in, I shall now pass judgment upon the accused. Wow. Wow. Judge is like, I guess I'll go play video games or something. Okay, court over.
Objection!
Wait. You didn't even give me a chance to rebut. Know when you are defeated, lawyer. But just this once, I am willing to show you the depths of my compassion. Tell me why I should allow these proceedings to continue. Come, convince me. Quick, Apollo! Even if you have to bluff, we've got to keep this trial going. Show her that the crime could have been committed by a third party. How am I supposed to do that? You get just guilty like that? I got all my hit points still. Why don't you start with, how about the timing of Inga's murder? What? This cold case is built on a single premise, that Inga was murdered after Dirk entered the tomb. But what if that's not true? Like, if our assumptions are all wrong? It just might work. Well, don't keep us waiting, defense. Dirk became the prime suspect because it didn't seem probable that there was a third party at the scene of the crime. But there is another question we should ask ourselves at this time. Was Minister Inga really killed after Dirk entered the tomb? Okay, channeling also makes this interesting. What if, either as part of his plan or by someone somehow tricking him, he was killed, like, if Queen Garan killed Inga and then channeled him, right? And then he made the threats and everything after he was already dead. Like, his spirit in her body was the one that called and said, hey, come here and come to the tomb. That's a possibility. Was Minister Inga really killed after Dirk entered the tomb? What nonsense is this? Setting aside the assumption that the murder occurred after Dirk arrived on the scene opens up the possibility of a third party committing the crime. The question before us is, when was Minister Inga really killed? He was killed after the body was found. Isn't it possible that before Dirk even set foot in the tomb, Mr. Ingista was already dead? That would certainly make the possibility of a third party more probable. Why, of course. I fell unconscious right after I entered the tomb. Even if I hadn't, I wouldn't have had a clear line of sight to his body from the entrance. Which means... I don't know. Occasionally, I assume that that's, like... Occasionally there's, like a little translation issue, where maybe it was not stated outright in Japanese the way that it was here, where it was like, before he entered the tomb, and then... You wouldn't have noticed his body either way. I mean, it's retribution, right? It's payback for the Hugh O'Connor case from before, where they gave me 3 options that were, like, almost completely identical in meaning, and I just had to, like, click the 2 wrong ones until I got to the right one. And he was like, yeah, what if it was the blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, that's what all three of those options meant. Don't be ridiculous. I don't recall what the question was. Were you just paying attention? This scenario is entirely possible. And so we can't rule out the possibility of a third person committing the crime. I see. Well, that certainly does make sense. It actually doesn't matter if anything makes sense to you. You were fired. You're fired. Go stand in the unemployment line. So far, so good. This might actually work. Very well. I shall play along with whatever little game you have knocking around in that tiny mind. I was starting to get quite bored of all this. I was starting to get quite bored of all this. I could do with a distraction. Yes! Let us hear some testimony that will shed light upon exactly when the minister was slain. Bailiff, summon Rafa. Surely she has recovered by now. But what about me? Don't I serve a purpose anymore? I hope you are feeling better, Your Benevolence. Must I perform the divination seance? What? Oh, no. We merely require your testimony this time. How could my testimony be of any value? Your Benevolence? Princess Rafa seems awfully depressed. After what she's been through, summoning her again is like rubbing salt in the wound. Being unable to perform the seance was probably the last straw. I hope she doesn't pass out again. Prosecutor Sadmati, may I ask you something? Of course, Your Benevolence. I've been meaning to ask you this since yesterday. Did you know about Queen Amara? And about me? From where did you hear such a thing? From Mother, and only yesterday. Rafa was carrying on about telling the truth to the people, so I told her what the truth really was, for it is up to a mother to discipline her child. I see. Be as it may, Your Benevolence, it has no bearing upon our trial here today. So, there is no need to let it trouble you. I know. Garan told Rafa about Garan told Rafa about something other than Amara's status? Sounds like it, but what could it be? Rafa, the defense has proposed something preposterous. They somehow think your father was already dead when Dirk entered the tomb. But I believe you can prove them wrong. Are you prepared to do what is required of you? Yes, I am ready to testify. Very well then, Your Benevolence. Your testimony, if you please. On the day of the murder, I was gazing upon the courtyard from my second-floor veranda. Aren't you fancy? Around 2:30 p.m., I saw my father heading for Amara's tomb. Then, at about 2:45, I saw Barbed Head and company enter the courtyard. I saw no one go in or out of the tomb after my father entered at about 2:30. So we know that I'm a tour guide was in there at 2 p.m. and took a picture. Your second floor veranda. Oh, she must be talking about that house facing Inga's private residence. It so is. I'm sorry. Is Ima too close to a real name? There are real people named Ima. So that's the location from which you saw your father, and about 2:30? Yes, and shortly after that, you people arrived at the royal residence. So after the minister entered Amara's tomb around 2:30, no one went in or out of there until the murder was discovered. The tomb is closed to outsiders, so no one could have snuck in before the murder. Wrong. That rules out any possibility of a third party lying in wait to slay my poor husband. Or so she'd like us to believe. Now hear me, you useless lawyer. Cease this charade and bow before me. For I, Queen Khura'in, shall finally have your head. Forgive me, Your Eminence, but first let us allow the defense to question the witness. just keep spamming the guilty button. It's her strongest attack, and there's no cooldown.
Hold it!
Is it possible you missed seeing someone pass through? No, my veranda has a commanding view of the entire grounds, and I saw no one else. But that doesn't seem right somehow. Do not underestimate my daughter. She may be lacking elsewhere, but her eyes are the finest. Lacking elsewhere? Talk about a mother I'd never wish on my worst enemy. She needs Nana now more than ever. So no one entered the tomb after Inga went in at about 2:30, and no one was seen leaving it either? But if the murder occurred before 3 p.m., then Rafer should have seen the killer going in or out. Well, we'll just have to try to get as much info out of her as we can.
Hold it!
Did your father seem different or troubled or being channeled by someone in any way? Let me think. Oh, there was one unusual thing. Oh, there's the mud, too. Mud? There was? Yes, a shriek emanated from within my father's quarters. After which, I witnessed him bolt outside, his countenance drained of its usual color. He screamed and was looking pale. What do you suppose happened? I know not. Perhaps he had a bad dream. Maybe it was a nightmare about being raked over the coals by the Queen. It seems our young lawyer here wishes to hasten his journey to the Twilight Realm. Sorry, that was rude of me. There's... It does... Okay, so that does establish that we're really not going to... It's almost kind of like what I had said, where I was like, oh, it'd be interesting if the way that we win this case is by getting everybody to agree that the Queen is ridiculous. That kind of will... I think that is the turnout, right? She can, at any time, say, trial over, you are executed. The only way that we beat that is by getting everyone to see that she is corrupt. Which she's already demonstrated a lot, but basically, we still have the same... We still have the same goal. Prove that he did it. But we're not trying to prove it before the court anymore. We're trying to prove it before the audience so that they say, yeah, she's obviously the real murderer and he's not. We should stop respecting her authority. She doesn't actually have any real power other than her Tatsumaki power and her claws. But she doesn't have... Supreme executive power is derived from a mandate from the masses, not some farcical aquatic ceremony, is what I'm getting at. Does the defense believe the witness's last statement to be important? I believe it is. I would like the witness to add it to her testimony. Oh, okay. My father let out a scream and came dashing out of his room, his face pale.
Hold it!
Well, I can't contradict that, but maybe there's some useful information from pressing it. Why do you think he screamed? Was he surprised by someone who didn't belong there? Did anyone else come out? I didn't see anyone else, just my father. That statement was seriously lacking in conviction. Should I press her on this? Press softly. Your benevolence. Yes? This incident was a real shock to us all. It must have been really terrible for you, but I want to let you know I know how you feel. Please stop. You presume too much. It's times like these that you need something to take your mind off things. How about we all go on a... Is this what happens when we press softly? It means that we offer sandwiches and Kool-Aid to people? I need no sympathy from you. Go on your little picnic alone, Hornhead. That didn't go so well. Apollo, you have to take a more aggressive approach with people like her. Yeah, he's probably right. And you see, this is why you don't play Paragon, Shepard. Renegade only. Go back to the statement. Let me do it again. I will choose the choice that is colored in red. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Your benevolence. Let's have some details. The more, the better. Details, you say? Yes. For example, are you sure you can't tell me anything about the Reapers? Are you sure you didn't see anyone in the royal residence before 2:30? Yeah, I just saw that yesterday. There was a gigantic conversation on Reddit of people talking about how like 92% of all players played through Mass Effect as Paragon. Silly lot of people. Are you sure you didn't see anyone in the royal residence before 2:30? Well, is that a yes or a no? We also have Tatsumaki powers. They're growing. Foreign devil, I'd been gazing upon the courtyard since about 2 yesterday, yet I saw none of... Since 2? Really now? Oh, if only I had stopped him then. I think you've struck a nerve, or rather obliterated one. Maybe I pressed a little too hard. Still, that last statement seemed a little off somehow. So you didn't see anyone except your father in the courtyard after 2 p.m., huh? Please add that to your testimony, your benevolence. This is what we were looking for.
Objection!
Your benevolence. You're covering for someone, aren't you? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, Rafa, but you're not gonna like this. Well, the thing is, I have a statement here that you might find interesting. It wasn't given under oath or anything. It's not like we did a deposition. He just said this. This is hearsay, in fact. The fact that I'm saying it and he's not here to be cross-examined is hearsay. It's from a witness who claims that around 2 p.m. his dog got loose and ran into the palace courtyard. That's when the little fellow stole this hat from someone. Ah, that's Nana's. I mean, nothing. Never mind. You fool of a daughter. It seems the princess made a blunder. Blunder is such a harsh word. Let's call it a stenank. So let me get this straight. This is Nana's hat, which means she had to have been in the royal residence at around 2. If so, then you had to have seen Nana sometime after 2 p.m. yesterday. Ooh, no. Please, your benevolence, tell us what you really saw. Erng. It is as you say, Hornhead. I saw Nana. This thing. That is totally Rose's idol anime, or her, yeah, isn't it? Does she have an orb or something? What does she do? Whatever she does, she's Rose from Street Fighter. But with nails and Tatsumakis. And I saw that dingbat dog steal her hat from her in front of my father's residence. I knew it. Why didn't you say so in the first place? Because, my mother told me not to. What? Would you care to explain, Your Eminence? I requested she withhold said information, for it is of no relevance to this case. You don't get to decide. Oh, she does get to decide. She just passed a new law. If you disagree, then prove that it is relevant to the case at hand. Oh, I will. Your benevolence, please tell us everything you witnessed when you saw Nana. All right. When I saw that dingbat dog attack Nana, I ran to help. I raced from my second floor veranda down into the courtyard. Wait, that means that while you were coming down, you took your eyes off the courtyard. Yes, but only for a moment. This is crucial testimony. If you took your eyes off the courtyard, it means somebody else could have entered the tomb without you ever knowing. Ah. Your benevolence. Are you sure no one else was there? Oh, yes. She's hiding something again. What about Nana? Were you able to help her? When I got down to the courtyard, Nana was... She was gone. Gone? Yes, and I never saw her again after that. Any idea what happened? That dingbat dog must have gobbled her up. It's okay. She was in Alliance B. They are supposed to get eaten and fight Cerberus from the inside. A adds, B belly, C chains. I seriously doubt that. But how could Nana simply disappear while Rafa wasn't looking? Rafa must know something. The only question is, what? I don't... How should I know what she knows that we don't? Why do you... I don't think I actually get penalized if I get this wrong. I think they just want me to try them. Did we? Did we see that in the last case? Where a dog tried to eat someone. Oh! Oh, yes! What was in the dumplings? Now I don't even remember. Oh, it was the dough that was used to smother the guy, and then they're like, I need to get rid of this dough. I'll bake it into dumplings and feed it to the dog. Oh, because it had blood in it. Right. Wait, how did the blood get there? I don't know. I don't care. Why do you suppose Nana disappeared? Even an educated guess would help. Objection. Speculation. There's a real objection to this. You can't just ask someone that. For example, maybe she got fed up with you acting like a spoiled baby diaper child. You know, something like that. Such impudence. Nana would not leave me merely for acting spoiled. You're not even going to deny your behavior? In any case, it seems I was wrong. Moving right along. Do you have any idea where Nana disappeared to? Wound on the murderer's head was dripping blood. That's it. What do you mean? Well, during the time you took your eyes off the courtyard, someone could have headed into the tomb, and it just so happens that Nana disappeared right at that moment. No! Wait, you think Nana had something to do with the murder? I don't think we can rule it out. It sounds like something had kept Nana occupied since the early morning. Plus, she was seen right before the murder and then seemed to vanish into thin air. You're right. And since she's Rafa's attendant, she could come and go as she pleased within the palace grounds. Could Rafa's attendant really be the killer? But that would mean... First my father, and now Nana? These were the people I trusted most. How could this be? Do not heed their lies. Lawyers are a foul breed, quick to claim a third party is to blame for a crime. As is their job. Nana did not enter the tomb, that much is certain. How can you be so sure? When Nana's hat was stolen, that crazed cur spilled an urn full of water upon my husband's doorstep. Is that not right, Rafa? Yes, it is. While that dingbat dog was tugging on Nana's hat, it tipped over the urn. The bottoms of her shoes would have been... Oh, go on. The bottoms of her shoes would have been soaked with water. And if she had truly headed into the tomb with wet shoes, she would have left shoe prints along the way. But the only shoe prints to be found belonged to my husband, Inga. Huh? Then... That's right. Nana never did go into the tomb that day. Instead, she entered my husband's private quarters. How do you know? It's quite simple. Shoe prints were discovered in Inga's private quarters. Shoe prints that belonged to Nana. That's right, Edgeworth and I did see some shoe prints in there. Mrs. Doubtfire is the killer. It's actually 1 hour photo. The other Robin Williams. The other. Out of the 2 movies that Robin Williams did, that was the other one. Now do you understand? Nana could not possibly have gone into the tomb, and that supposed third person at the crime scene is but a figment of your imagination. Arg! Another glorious deduction. All hail genius that is her eminence Queen Garan. Bow down before her glory, witless lawyer. Those guys fanboy any harder. But is it really true? Did Nana not go into the tomb? Excuse me, but... Mr. Wright? Your benevolence, what time was it when that dog attacked Nana? I believe it was about 2:15 p.m. I see. Apollo, if Nana entered Inga's private quarters at around 2:15 and Inga came racing out around 2:30, pale-faced and screaming, then... Ah, I know what you're getting at. Yes, that might explain his scream. Would the defense please share their theory regarding Justice Minister Inga's scream? Phoenix, you say it. I don't know. Screamed because he had a bad dream, he was attacked by Nana, or he saw a ghost. I don't believe he was attacked by Nana, but let's say he was. Maybe he was attacked by Nana. This would make the Justice Minister's private quarters the real scene of the crime. Oh, also, okay. Was it really Nana, or was it someone else wearing Nana's hat and clothes? Because if Rafa saw her from a distance, it could have easily been someone else dressed up as Nana, and Justice Minister would not have known the difference until, because of prosopagnosia, until they were like, "Mwahaha, I'm not the person you think I am." Does this series have non-reg trials? I mean, they're all rigged in the sense that they take place in Japanifornia, where all trials are unfair. Fulton Face, you didn't. That would make the Justice Minister's private quarters the real scene of the crime. Does your idiocy know no bounds? The minister's body was found in the tomb. Or are you suggesting that the body was moved? Do I think the minister was moved from his private quarters? I think the possibility... What? Oh, wait, so Nana, what, attacked him and killed him? No. I'd say there's no way that the body was moved. After all, there was an awful lot of blood in the tomb. I understand if the scream was in reaction to Nana's attack, but Inga died in the tomb. We need to explain how those two realities could coincide. How are we supposed to do that? Oh, maybe where he was stabbed and where he died were two completely different locations. What do you mean? It's just, let's look at this as simply as possible. I'm sure there's a simple explanation for what happened, and not a ridiculous one involving ghosts and prosopagnosia. If the minister's body wasn't moved, he might have been stabbed by Nana in his private quarters, but then died in the tomb. Ooh, stabbed right in the private quarters. That's gotta hurt. I see. On the one hand, that seems plausible, but on the other, it seems decidedly implausible. Prosecutor Sadmati, what is that fool babbling on about now? Is this a riddle from one of those fortune cookies American Japanifornians seem so fond of? Perhaps, but I believe he himself does not know what he means to say. In all likelihood, it was a poor attempt to confuse us. We should simply ignore him. I wasn't finished yet, so hold off on the analysis, would you? The autopsy report never stated that the minister's death was instantaneous, so he could have conceivably moved from one place to another after being stabbed. Oh my, are you suggesting he ran all the way to the tomb with a knife sticking out of his back? Well, yes, that's the gist of it. In short, Minister Inga saw Nana with a knife, let out a scream, and when he turned his back to her to flee, right, and that's when he was stabbed from behind. Updated autopsy report. That old meme? Well, Your Majesty, does my theory hold water? How dare you bore me like this? Huh? You are a humorless moron, spewing an endless stream of unamusing drivel. I wasn't trying to be funny, Your Eminence. Prosecutor, enlighten this ignorant clown in lawyer's clothing. Your Eminence. Ha! That's not enlightenment. That's a necklace. Nayuda? You dull, slow-witted, putrid-minded lawyer. Perhaps you would be too stupid to notice you had been stabbed in the back. But the normal person would have noticed due to the excruciating pain. Now, hold on. Allow me to teach you the meaning of pain. Please stop. Nayuda has a point. Normally, most people would notice a dagger in the back. Really? Normally, most people would notice a dagger in their back. Oh, yeah. Somehow I doubt someone could ignore pain like this. Still, in this case, it's the word normally that we should emphasize. Apollo, take another look at the court record. Right. There must be something that explains this, and there is. There is a reason Inga didn't feel any pain, and the defense will submit evidence proving just that. Very well. Please present your evidence. Why didn't Justice Minister Inga notice that he had been stabbed? Because he was hopped up on goofballs. Ah, those are my father's painkiller shots. The defense will explain the significance of this evidence. Really? Minister Inga suffered from terrible back pain, so he often injected himself with these. We're told that one shot in the back would make all his pain go away. With this, it's easy to explain what happened. Don't tell me you didn't know about these, Your Eminence. You can't mean... Minister Inga was stabbed in his back, close to where he usually injected the painkiller. It wasn't like lower back pain? It was like right here. Right by the heart. That's where everybody's back usually hurts. Therefore, it's entirely possible that he hadn't noticed that he'd been stabbed. What? What's this? Then, are you suggesting Justice Minister Inga really ran off with a knife protruding from his back? I am, Your Majesty. So then, when I saw my father, he had a knife sticking out of him? I mean, with that cape of his, I couldn't see his back very well. The cape wouldn't obscure the knife. It would have been stabbed through the cape, unless he put the cape on after he was stabbed, in which case it would be extremely obvious that there was a knife underneath his cape. Under the cape! He's like, I gotta split out of here, dudes, but before I do, let me put my cape on. Pain medication means people who have back pain can get stabbed in the back, unnoticed. The knife was there, it was just plunged in so deep you didn't notice it under the cape. Therefore, when you saw your father, he was already dead. Even quotation marks are not enough. Please, please don't use the word dead to describe a guy who's walking around. Murdered by Nena in his private quarters. Pokunka! Holy Mother of Khura'in! Are we dealing with the living dead here? Well, technically, he wasn't dead yet. Remove the word technically. People... I know it's hard to believe, but this is a plausible sequence of events, and once Minister Inga arrived at the tomb, he could have removed the knife and dropped dead from blood loss. Nena killed my father? There must be some mistake. The defense would like to call Nena to the stand. You seek to drag an innocent old woman not to the stand with no proof whatsoever? Well, there's no real proof, but... What a tangled web of expedient lies you weave. Well, would it still be... Well, yeah, I guess at this point it's right. It is in the past. Getting proof is kind of what witnesses are for. Yeah, there should be a very low bar to say we need to call this person to talk to them. I can no longer tell facts from fiction. Who or what shall I believe in now? I'm sorry, Rafa. All I've done is confuse you. But I have a sneaking suspicion Nena's involved in this case one way or another. Just when I thought we'd blown this case wide open. Well, there's no turning back now. You fool of a lawyer. I know why you are so desperate to prove the accused innocent. I think everyone knows. It's because I don't want to die. You do? Yes, because he faces public execution if proven guilty, as shall you under the stipulations of the Defense Culpability Act. We know. From the moment you accepted this case, you had no choice but to fight for your lives. Yeah, well, yes. Also, in addition, yes and also, the simple fact is I've always believed that Dirk is innocent. Bah! Still you cling to your pretense? Very well. I shall offer you a bargain. If you would admit that the accused is guilty right here, right now, I shall overlook your crime of abetting him, and you will not be subject to execution. Is this some sort of joke? Far from it. As queen, I have the power to grant pardons, even to criminals like you. And with the wave of my fan, I can predict when there will be a Tatsumaki. And I can even reduce the severity of a sentence. Perhaps even for Dirk, should you be willing to cooperate. She wasn't kidding when she said she's the law here. But to flaunt that power in our faces like that, that's just wrong. Forget all that has transpired in our kingdom and return to your own country in peace. Well, will you abandon your defense of the accused and accept my generous offer? If I don't take this deal, we'll be executed along with Dirk if he's found guilty. I have to think carefully about this one. I kind of want to see. Do they give me like a bad ending? We'll be executed if we lose this trial. Poor Trucy will lose her father. I feel bad for Athena, too. And besides, life is precious. It's not something you should gamble with. Still. I made a promise. And there's one more person I can't abandon in his time of need. Which leaves me with only one choice. A false choice that Hiten didn't get to pick. Nice try, Garan, but it looks like you don't know what justice is made of. We won't kowtow to threats like that, Your Eminence. But thou must. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, but I can't back down now. But what I can do is end the stream, because it's 9 o'clock. We'll play tomorrow, though. I will stream tomorrow. I will be here. It's Sunday. I'll probably start like 5 hours later than normal start time because, oh no, oh well. But we will be streaming tomorrow. We might have enough time to finish the case. I don't have any idea how much longer this case will be. There's a possibility we finish it Sunday, in which case Tuesday we'll be starting La Mulana. Won't that be exciting? I think it will be. And if it does run a bit long, then I guess we'll finish this on Tuesday instead, and then go right into La Mulana. Yeah, I'll try not to start way too late. Sunday streams are when I go, well, I'll just stream from whenever to whenever instead of the specific hours. So, thank you everyone. I guess I won't even bother to save so that when we pick up next time I can pick the other choice.